many years ago, a bureaucrat told me that he always only accepts invites for post-lunch sessions because the audience don't talk amongst themselves. So I would like to welcome my co-panelists today, and I wanted to request Mr. Ghanshyam Prasad, Chairperson CEA, to give the opening comment, and then we will move to specific questions. Over to you, sir.
The topic does not require much of introduction. So hydro pump storage definitely, I'll say it's, if you take the industrial graph, it died down. And again, we are trying to revive this sector. We had made huge amount of effort for last 3-4 years. The story, short story is that we had built 4.7 gigawatt of hydro pump storage. And we stood at that place for around roughly more than 10 years. Not even a single pump storage got added in the country. But thanks to energy transition and renewable, huge amount of renewables getting added into the system, we needed something which provided a stable sort of a generation during the non-solar hours. Solar hours, absolutely, it's not a challenge for the grid as of now. We have sufficient capacity. In fact, as on date, we can easily meet somewhere around 285 to 290 gigawatt of peak demand during the day hours. Absolutely, there is no challenge. But during evening, definitely there remains issues, particularly during the high demand period. So we are now in the business of trying to store energy, trying to see how cheaper electricity can be stored and used at a time when it is needed. Because mostly the behavior of a consumer, you will not be able to tinker much. They will switch on whenever they need, switch off whenever they don't need it. So that's a philosophy that every consumer adopts. At the most, we are trying to do something there also, and that is by slightly making more lucrative time of day tariff. We have already introduced something and given a band of 20% plus minus. That means 20% lesser tariff during the solar hours and 20% higher tariff during the non-solar hours, particularly during the evening peak. But probably this is not enough. Some response has come, and some people have definitely shifted his load towards the day hours. That is how in India, we are having peak during the day hours, not during the evening hours. Earlier, it used to happen during the evening hours. We have successfully reduced this by around roughly 20 to 25 gigawatt as of now. But probably the potential is slightly higher than this, what we can do. So the TOD tariff policy, we are trying to have some more modification, and maybe we can make it dynamic. May not be only 2 time slots, it can be multiple time slots, even during the day and during the evening hours as well. That means depending on the availability in the grid, maybe if my solar is getting traded at 10 paisa during the day hours, there's no point in asking consumer to pay at 5 rupees or something. So maybe at that time, the consumer can even pay 2 rupees, 3 rupees and take that electricity from the market as much as it is available there. So this is likely to be made dynamic, made in different time slots, etc., etc. But again, the major point that remains is how do I shift the generation which is available to me during the day hours to the evening hours or the non-solar hours. This is number one. Number two is we require huge amount of rotating mass into the system so that my inertia in the grid does not get disturbed, which is very, very important. Otherwise, you will find that if there is a tripping in the grid, then huge amount of loss is there. And very recently, we faced a challenge in the Khavda area of Gujarat, where we lost around 9,000 megawatt within no time. And that impacted the Gujarat grid to a larger extent. And this is a case when Gujarat, that area is having hardly around 12 gigawatt of solar capacity. By 2030, the same area will have a capacity of somewhere around 40 gigawatt. So in an area of 40 gigawatt, if something happens, then the challenge is much higher. So we want something very, very stable, some system which really takes care of the nuances that is likely to crop in maybe after 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years time frame. So we have identified around 15 gigawatt of hydro pump storage right in Gujarat, earlier not thinkable. In Rajasthan itself, around 12 gigawatt. Right now, maybe the capacity may get added up further as well, because potential is being identified, and every month we are increasing the capacity. So far, the potential in the country for hydro pump storage, when I joined CA, it was around 94 gigawatt. Now it has already crossed 300 gigawatt. Out of that 300 gigawatt, we prioritize 100 gigawatt, for which the report is already there on the CA website, which we are targeting up to 2035 time frame. That means 10 years from now, and that will be what we are going to achieve. Last year, we commissioned around 2.6 gigawatt. This year, we are going to commission around 3 gigawatt. So now the commissioning, whatever policy measures we had taken, those commissioning have already started. So maybe after 2 years, you'll find 6 gigawatt, 13 gigawatt, 20 gigawatt, that kind of a pipeline is already there. That's very well illustrated in that report as well. So the question that comes is, how could we revive this? It didn't happen overnight. We tried to identify the pain points. What are the areas which needs to be addressed? Some people said it is MOEF. So we went to MOEF, got this PSP reclassified as slightly separate than the hydro. And among the PSP, we made 3 categories right now. That is one where there are 2 rivers, that means upside and downside as well. One which is open loop, that is 1 river. And third category, which was the easiest to be tackled, was the without stream. That means it is a closed loop off stream type of a hydro pump storage, for which MOEF also agreed that we will not put stringent conditions like hydro, and we'll try to make it fast track. A lot of relaxation already given on this, and that is how. And the net result of these relaxation is, earlier, even after the DPR preparation, people used to wait years together for starting the project. There is another one project which is going to come, which DPR will be clearing either this month or the next month. They will get the forest clearance by August, and in September they will start the work as well, because they have already done the bidding process, etc. There are so many things which we had told the developers to do in parallel, so that at least you don't waste time in execution of the projects. Project timelines have also reduced. The concept which we had that hydro gets completed in more than 10 years is now reduced to around 3.5 years to 4 years time frame. And there are projects which has demonstrated as well. The 3 projects that we are going to commission this year, one of them will be completed in 33 months. So that's a kind of benchmark that we are going to set for the country. And probably since it is the private sector which has jumped in this particular segment, I don't see any reason why it cannot be done. 2-3 things more which was required for this particular segment was how fast we are able to clear the DPRs. Is there a transparency in DPR preparation as well as appraisal process? All this has been taken care, and we have made the absolute checklist wherein the developer also knows what he is supposed to submit. A pricing agency also knows what he is to examine, neither less or nor more. So that's the kind of predictability that has come into this particular segment. We needed more manpower to clear the project, because now the number of DPRs is going higher and higher. Because if you have the same manpower to clear these DPRs, probably you will not be able to people will say काम बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गया है, इसलिए मैं DPR अभी 5 series में करूँगा. तो सीरीज बिजनेस अब नहीं चलेगा कंट्री में, इतना तो इट्स दैट हैज बीन मेड वेरी क्लियर टू एवरीबडी.
These projects are
And
62
this-
or 63, sir?
Sorry?
These projects are under section 62 or
63. Mostly, see, earlier the demand of this sector was that please keep this 62 route also open. We said, fine, let it be open. But of late, even the developer have realized that it is the 63 route which is going to help them. उसका कारण ये होता है कि यदि 63 में कोई प्रोजेक्ट बन रही है, दैट मीन्स उसको टैरिफ पहले ही पता चल गया है. So there is a predictability of tariff for next 25-40 years and maybe even beyond, because that project is going to last at least for 80 to 100 years, right? As compared to 62, you will have unpredictability of tariff because regulatory commission हर एक 5 साल पे अपनी नॉर्म्स रिवाइज करेगा, फिर चेक करेगा, आप उसको सबमिट करोगे, पिटिशन डालोगे, आपकी हेयरिंग होगी, स्टेक होल्डर कंसल्ट, जो मॉर्निंग में मैं बता रहा था. So instead of doing that, I think 63 route has been adopted very well now in the hydro segment as well, and particularly in the hydro pump storage. In fact, जितने भी प्रोजेक्ट्स की अभी बात मैं कर रहा हूँ, वो सारे अभी इसी रूट पे आ रहे हैं. जितनी अभी पाइपलाइन में हमारी है, करीब करीब 15 गीगावाट का अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन में आ गया है, एंड करीब 6 गीगावाट की प्रोजेक्ट ऐसी है जो कि जिसका DPR बन के रेडी है. They are just waiting for the environment clearance to happen and then they will take off. This year itself, we are targeting to clear the DPR worth somewhere around 20 to 25,000 megawatt worth of projects capacity. Will be trying to roll it out this particular year. So this is the background. I thought I'll just mention.
Thank you
to
for
the
this
audience.
opening comment. I'll go to Senior Advocate Sanjay Sen. Mr. Sen, can electricity storage be legally classified within the existing framework of the Electricity Act 2003?
Before I come to that question, I'll just to take on what Shamji has just said. And since we have a regulator from Odisha, a former chairman of OERC, we have seen some inertia in Odisha about pump storage. A lot of these assets are identified and on a nomination basis is given to OHPC and various other PSUs. But there's no movement for the last 10 years. And I don't know whether the policy initiatives taken by CEA and by MOP 2023 guidelines and all, whether that has been able to push these projects, because we have not seen any activity. I mean, the potential is there in Odisha for pump storage, but the eastern part of India, we haven't seen activity. Maharashtra, Gujarat is doing well.
चलिए मैं आपको थोड़ा सा रोकूंगा यहाँ पे. मैंने अपने जो भी एग्जाम्पल दे रहा था उसमें मैंने पब्लिक सेक्टर का जानबूझ करके नाम नहीं लिया था. Probably that will answer your question.
Yes.
The reason being, in spite of our all meetings with these PSUs, they are still in the zone of 662, predictability, etc. जो भी कह लीजिए उनको. और अभी भी मेरे पास जो 100 गीगावाट का प्रोजेक्ट है उसमें आप देखोगे मेजॉरिटी ऑलमोस्ट 95% ऑफ दिस प्रोजेक्ट्स आर विद प्राइवेट सेक्टर. बिकॉज आई नो कि इफ दे आर गोइंग टू मेक मनी बाय दिस, तो प्रोजेक्ट आएगा, वो अपना पैसा भी डालेगा, अपना काम भी करेगा, टाइम पे लेके भी आएगा और डिलीवर भी करेगा. और रही बात ईस्टर्न रीजन की, तो I'll give you 2 projects which is likely to come in Bihar. What to talk about Odisha, जो कि मैं कभी सोच नहीं सकता था कि बिहार में भी कभी पंप स्टोरेज आ भी सकता है. एंड एक ग्रीनको ने अभी काम करना शुरू कर दिया है उसके ऊपर. काम मीन्स DPR बनाना शुरू कर दिया. इट हैज़ बीन अलॉटेड टू हिम. और एक सन फार्मा है, वो भी कर रहा है. सो रफली 1200 की कैपेसिटी है दोनों की. तो उड़ीसा में देखिए, आपको एक चीज़ और इसको मानना पड़ेगा कि द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट हैज़ टू बी वेरी वेरी प्रोएक्टिव इफ ही रियली वांट्स द PSP टू डेवलप इन द स्टेट. सो लेट्स नॉट ओनली ब्लेम द PSUs फॉर होल्डिंग इट बैक, बिकॉज आपको इसमें काफ़ी चीज़ है जो कि आपको फैसिलिटेट करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है ना? तो ये 2 चीज़ जब तक आप नहीं करोगे तो स्टेट में पोटेंशियल बेशक रहेगा, लेकिन वो पड़ा का पड़ा रह जाएगा.
You've seen that.
ठीक है?
Now that you read that, I'm tempted to respond.
Yes, please.
I read this question to somebody about 6 months back. Somebody at the policy level in the government. So he said, now battery storage has come very cheap. So in Maharashtra and all, it has come at very low price and things like that. So we will go for that thing. Then of course after that we had this his workshop at Belgaum in January, where Mr. Ghanshyam Prasad very clearly explained what are the problems with battery storage and how this pump storage should be preferred to that thing. But before this feedback I got from them before you told about this thing. Otherwise, I would have told them these are the issues with.
सर एक और फीडबैक देता हूँ आज फिर मैं
Right.
आपको कि जितनी भी ये लो टैरिफ आई है ना, आई एम नॉट रियली वेरी श्योर दैट एनी ऑफ दीज प्रोजेक्ट्स आर गोइंग टू कम. Probably they will not come. The reason is also very clear to everybody, and that is जो प्राइस डाउन आ रही थी अब प्राइस अप होनी शुरू हो गई है बैटरी की. So those who have bidded with an expectation that the price may go further down is struck now in this particular game. So maybe these projects may not or at all fructify. So we have to be very, very clear. This is number one. Number two, there's a beautiful calculation by Additional Chief Secretary of Telangana. अब नवीन को मैंने चिंतन शिविर में समझाया था कि पीएसपी क्यों लाना चाहिए और इतनी बढ़िया से भी वो उसको प्रमोट कर रहा है तेलंगाना में. Even I was surprised. And he has given a beautiful calculation how PSP is going to be much, much better than even if the battery prices fall down. यहाँ पे आपको 2-3 नुएंसेस हैं. नुएंसेस क्या है आपकी? 12 से 15 साल में आपको चेंज करना पड़ेगा. That means you require reinvestment into the sector. PSP में आपने एक बार इन्वेस्ट कर दिया and then you are sitting quietly for next 80 to 100 years. आपको कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. बट सर अभी मैं इसलिए मैं जानबूझ के हाइड्रो देखने गया था इसमें भीरा में. दैट प्लांट इज रनिंग फॉर 100 years. इज गोइंग टू बी सेलिब्रेटिंग नेक्स्ट ईयर. अपना सेंटेनरी ईयर सेलिब्रेट करने वाला है वो. स्टिल रनिंग फिट एंड फाइन. बीच में खाली उन्होंने एक ही चीज़ किया कि उसको उसकी कैपेसिटी को अपग्रेड भी कर दिया है. क्या कि नई अच्छी मशीन आ गई तो अपग्रेड कर दिया उसको. बट एब्सोल्युटली क्लीन. आई मीन एक ड्रॉप ऑफ वाटर की लीकेज नहीं है उस प्लांट में. आई वेंट इवन इनसाइड द जो उसके डैम बनी हुई है 100 साल होने वाला है. डैम के अंदर जो उसकी ये रहती है ना इंस्पेक्शन जो रहती है. हाँ भाखड़ा ऑल्सो ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर थिंग. So absolutely, I have iota of doubt about the development of these. The only problem what happened earlier when I started analyzing the issues is since everybody got relaxed, we 100% dependent on the government companies or the state owned or the central owned, either of them. Sweet will में अपना project complete कर रहे हैं. किसी को 15 साल लग रहा है, 20 साल लग रहा है, 62 है, कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता है. टाइम ओवर रन होगा, कॉस्ट ओवर रन होगा, आएगी कमीशन में आएगी, टैरिफ इसको मिल जाएगा एंड चीज़ें चलती रहेगी. सो ये माइंडसेट पे आपका हाइड्रो क्या हुआ कि आपकी अनकॉम्पिटिटिव हो गई. सो इस माइंडसेट को आपको चेंज करना था एंड दिस इज वेयर वी वर्कड ऑन.
Now
Thank
go
you
back
for
to
that
your question.
Yeah.
Yes, on energy storage, where does it sit? The Act does not really, it doesn't really articulate on this, but what it does is in the rules in 2022, an amendment was made to bring in within the definition of power system. Then the rule was further amended in 2025, the electricity rules, 2005, to then say that energy storage is a part of and the rules, once they're notified, that becomes part of the Act. But apart from that, the CERC, the CEA regulation, the ancillary services regulations, the tariff regulations, the GNA. So now it's an integral part of the overall architecture of the power sector in terms of the regulatory architecture. So it's there.
A small question. I'm asking you. Ghanshyamji is going to shoot me if I ask him. Can you have a rule passed under electricity laws which is outside the Act, yes or no?
it depends on what the court says finally. The rule has to be within the four corners of the parent statute. If it is not, then the courts have to strike it down, not maybe some portion of the rule or the entirety. The green open access rules were challenged in Karnataka, and we've had some matters pending. I think it's not resolved yet. So it can be challenged if there are rules which.
My question is very simple.
LPS के बात कर रहे हो किसका बात?
मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ सर.
I don't know what is he talking about.
Ajay, sorry, Harry. As long as the rules are not in contravention of anything that is
No,
said
the first
in
of
the
all-
act. No. Why? What prompted me to ask that question was you said, rule, is it bound by what is provided in the act, or in my view, it can also provide for anything as long as it doesn't contravene provisions of.
Yeah, but correct. There are two principles in which you challenge a delegated legislation. One is competence. The other is ultra-virus. What you're saying is the second part. It's not questioning any other parliamentary statute, not only the Electricity Act, any parliamentary statute, not any provision of the Constitution. But competence has to come from the parent statute. Now, the electricity regulator or the government of India under the electricity, we are having this issue about the Energy Conservation Act trying to make a rule under which the RPO is getting subsumed. Competence is an issue there.
I agree
So-
because I was a GS when that act came.
Yes.
And we had not envisaged what they are trying to.
True. So it's about, so competence and the varies are two different aspects of a
इसको एक
challenge.
डायमेंशन और दे दूं. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट तो 2003 में आया.
Correct.
क्या पीएसपी उसके पहले नहीं था? Why nobody raised a question? It is illegal to have a PSP. क्या बैटरी नहीं है पहले से कंट्री में? जिस समय आपके पास कंट्री में शॉर्टेज थी, हर एक कंज्यूमर बैटरी यूज करता था, इन्वर्टर यूज करता था, बैटरी यूज करता था. तो उस समय क्या इलीगल था ये? So what is this legal and illegality?
No, I'll tell you what happened. Just an example. Mr. Talwar, when he was in the appellate forum, he was part of a judgment which said that DLF utilities cannot give backup power to the DLF properties, whether it's the mall or the flats, because the utility does not have a distribution license. So it was legal till somebody pointed out it to be illegal. Backup power to the DLF society.
It was a parallel source of income. They were providing power at 20 rupees
But a
a
different
unit.
company was doing it, not the guys who meet the building. A separate vertical of DLF was supplying backup power. It was a business. That was called out. He said no.
It
It's
still doesn't answer my question. I mean, can you pass a rule which is outside
that
the
is
act?
a matter of challenge. It has to be seen. in the
जेनरिक आंसर देना है तो ये the answer is no.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, so just adding to the question, sir.
All the rules which have been made is as per the act.
Yeah, because unless it's been struck down, it is valid. Somebody has to strike it down.
The panel has gone into very interesting areas. I'll bring back to the question because then I'll want to ask.
Just one thing for Sanjay sir, that how do we read any other matter which is required to be or may be prescribed, whether it appears in 176, 178 or elsewhere?
It does it? I don't know.
It provides. In 176 I am reading.
Yes.
This is clause Z under 176, which is power to make rules. And it provides any other matter which is required to be or may be prescribed.
Correct. So there has to be a connection. You cannot make a rule on income tax. Under this provision, you can't say that I will take away I'll tax somebody. You can't make a rule on.
I think we have deviated from the actual
that's-
topic.
Let's come back.
Ghanshyamji, just a point.
Yeah.
It can, in my view, make a rule on matters relating to the Act and Other matters incidental there too.
Correct. You can take the act forward.
And incidental there too. So there your point that it is part of hydro generation.
Correct.
It is hydro generation. It's incidental there too.
Correct. It's something
No, we're talking about
in the overall.
storage, not hydro. Normal storage.
Storage is
नहीं नहीं पंप नहीं सर अरे यार बैटरी स्टोरेज भी तो है
but
स्टोरेज
storage is again power system का अंदर आ गया है. It's come under power system.
या आई बिलीव सो
We'll go to the next question.
Yes.
Who ultimately bears the cost of energy storage, whether it's the state, the utility, or the electricity consumer? To Mr. Ghanshyam Prasad.
क्वेश्चन का आंसर है तो कंज्यूमर है, nobody else bears this cost.
Yes.
But in PSP or say in battery storage, first some energy is made using all the resources, whatever,
Yes.
and then it is stored, then it gets regenerated or efficiency gets lost, then again energy is made out of it. So it is not a question of only storage. It is a question of first making, transmitting, then storing, then making up that whatever has got degenerated in that or efficiency loss, and then again producing that energy and then transmitting to the consumer. So I have a
कहना क्या चाहते हैं?
अब now I have a suggestion or submission. In thermal storage, you store the sun's heat through the mirrors already put once.
I think let's not deviate that.
No, it is related to storage only. Then you, whenever you require, you produce electricity out of that or use the direct heat also. Because first producing electricity and then making heat, in between the heat to electricity, again you get 70% loss. So if we can have direct heat and mind you, electricity is only 20% of the total energy usage. Even if you are doing everything to decarbonize, you are only decarbonizing 25% of it till now.
Point well taken.
In this is not the only case.
We have taken your point. We'll
In
take
battery
this.
and PSP, this is not the only storage cost. This is what I meant.
Point well taken.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. I'll go to the next question for the panel. This is on the issue of banking. Should it be treated as a regulatory incentive or as a commercial service priced on cost reflective principles? Mr. Singh, would you want to take that?
You know, something can be an incentive in the beginning, but it is not sustainable over a period of time. Finally, it has to have some commercial justification, otherwise it will fail. Banking, we have serious pushback from most states. Maharashtra has a very serious pushback pending. It's now pending judgment. They are now saying that over the time of day tariff, which was discussed, they were able to shift a lot of load to the night time or the evening hour, post the evening load. A lot of industrial load was shifted. Now the costs are such that even when you want to give the bank powers, the utility is put to some stress, financial stress. So they are not willing to. They're reducing the banking. They're playing with the banking period. When you can draw the power, that is getting changed state to state. I'm seeing it in UP. I'm seeing it in Maharashtra, in various states. So finally, it has to have very strong commercial justification. Pushing back. Maharashtra, there are serious issues.
We'll go to Chair.
Yeah, you have rightly explained. But banking is seen from two perspectives. One is what you have explained from the consumer perspective. The second, banking is also done at the source level by the distribution utilities between the states. Say, for example, Delhi does with Himachal, Punjab. So, few months they need the power, so they get it from them, and other months the other people does it. And this philosophy we will be promoting, particularly another case is coming up between MP and UP. Same asset can be used or we'll have two PPAs, one with MP and the other with UP for differential time frame. So this kind of a construct is now coming up, which is again nothing but it's going to be a sharing of the resources partly during the year and the banking itself. Right.
Thank you. Now we have 10 minutes, so we'll open this up for questions. Ma'am, you want?
I just wanted to ask about the banking point.
There's a mic.
Asking
Yeah,
about the
please.
banking point. I mean, one is restrictions like in Maharashtra, but I think Kerala has decided not to have banking for new projects at all. Recent GNA regulations, draft ones in Karnataka are saying that they're going to discontinue banking for new
So
agreements.
there's a pushback. You're right.
So I'm just wondering if this is it a concessional service or should be at charge is one point, but is it okay for discoms legally to stop giving banking at all? Because that could also, with the advent of storage, I'm just asking that as a question.
आप तो प्रयास से हो ना,
Yes, yes.
तो आप यही बता दो सिर्फ इतना ही ऑडियंस को कि बैंकिंग में पुशबैक क्यों आना शुरू हो गया. आपकी एनालिसिस कुछ कहती होगी.
No, it is because it's definitely costing the discom quite significantly, and there is pressure.
So already discoms are dying, and financial viability पे जिसको भी impact करेगा, he will have a pushback. So it's a policy which is not conducive to the entire ecosystem of the thing. So there has to be a corrective action. Maybe today or tomorrow, every state will start doing it.
So my question is the corrective action cost or restrictions? Do you allow banking at, let's say, the cost of storage, 4 rupees, 5 rupees? Or do you say, no, this is a service we cannot provide and you have to make your own arrangements? It was just from a thought-provoking point.
This will be a good driver for all the rooftop people to go for a storage. And this is what we have also prescribed. We have said that why don't you have a 2 hours of storage minimum? So whenever you have extra electricity, you store it. And evening में अपना trade कर दो उसको. Aggregatory concept आ चुकी है आपके पास. So there will be a small player who will be able to aggregate with you and demand response to अपना electricity base. Absolutely economics. So let us, I mean, the moment we see it as a non-commercial business, then probably we end up into the systems. So we should not go into that domain. हमेशा जब भी पॉलिसी बनाए तो ये सोच करके जरूर देखना कि ये इकोनॉमिकली सस्टेनेबल एंड वायबल होने वाला है या नहीं. यदि नहीं हो रहा है तो आई थिंक वी शुड बेटर ड्रॉप इट.
Just to give you a perspective, banking is also not provided in the act. It came through judicial orders or regulatory orders. Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, they were the first states to even Karnataka. So then it's now come in some rules. It's mention is there, but it's not there in the act itself. But it was a facility to promote renewable in the beginning, in the first years. Now, for reasons which are very elaborately dealt with by MERC, people can agree, can disagree. But the fact is, they are now saying that we can't give it. It's not sustainable. So nothing prevents, I know a lot of players in the renewable are CNI or captive. They're not selling to utilities. So nothing prevents them from having a bilateral arrangement with the grid contractually. It can, correct. But they are saying that we can do it through a contract.
Always a seasonal bank.
Correct.
They needed it in winter.
Yeah.
Downstream states needed it in summer. So we would trade.
Correct.
Banking.
State-wise the banking अभी भी है. Still there.
इसमें एक और चीज रिमाइंड्स में बिकॉज 2-3 बार रेफरेंस आ गया आपका कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी एक्ट में नहीं है फिर भी आप कुछ चीज़ कर रहे हो. ब्रॉडली यही आ रहा है ना. बट एक चीज़ आपको मैं बताऊं, जो भी लीगल प्रोसेस है, ऑफ कोर्स आई एम नॉट अ लीगल पर्सन बट स्टिल व्हाट आई लिटिल एक्सपीरियंस दैट आई हैव इज इफ यू स्ट्रिक्टली डू ओनली व्हाट इज रिटन,
You can't progress.
then you will not be able to have innovations into the systems. You are going to kill innovations. So one has to be very, very careful what is that extent of liberty that you would like to give. और जब तक कि आप इसको नहीं देंगे तो नई चीज बिल्कुल नहीं आ सकती है सेगमेंट.
Correct. REC.
REC was not mentioned, but still
It came.
because see RPO ही देख लो.
Correct.
आरपीओ क्यों आया सिस्टम में? We wanted to create a demand for renewables.
There is reference to this. You were not here. The reference was कि ये आपका जो रेगुलेटरी एसेट है वो तो एक्ट में है ही नहीं. उधर से ये कहानी शुरू हुई आज. तो फिर किसी ने बताया कि भाई वो there was some very brilliant consultant who innovatively decided, some audit consultant, no, that we need to have something called regulatory asset, which is not in the act. फिर उन्होंने कहा जी कि वो रूल्स में आ गया है 24-25 में कहीं कि you can have regulatory assets. Then my question.
नहीं ये कहीं नहीं आया है कि you can have.
You can liquidate. You have to liquidate within the time frame. It's the reverse. It's a.
तो फिर उसमें
it's not a virtue.
It's a communication gap भी तो होता है ना सर.
बोलो जी.
तो फिर उसमें ये आया डिस्कशन में कि भाई अब I asked a simple question which I asked you also that कि can you have a regulation which goes outside the act? And the answer was no. You also gave me the answer was no. So that's a hyper-technical question I keep asking. फिर बीच में आया था इसका context कि ये कपलिंग वाला, उसमें ये था कि किसी ने लॉयर ने बताया कि भाई तुम्हारा तो लाइसेंस ही नहीं है, तुम ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो. वो उसने बोला नहीं हमारे पास लाइसेंस है. तो बोला कौन सा लाइसेंस है तुम्हारा? वो इट्स नॉट लाइसेंस, लाइसेंस अ परमिशन. So that was the grey area was there. That's why we were trying to clarify. Nothing else. Very innocently.
Any last question that we have time for one more question. I think that we
post lunch session. You don't expect questions.
No, but Mr. Ghanshyam Prasad made some really interesting points in his opening comment and one thereafter. I'd like to thank Chairman CA and Senior Advocate Sanjay Sen for your time on this topic. Appreciate that you could join us today, this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.